Tingles with flyby. Daily ASMR videos. Hello. So how's your machine been going? I'm so glad to hear that. So what brings you in today? Ooh, new feet. It's always fun. Okay, and some other accessories. Wonderful. So let's look. So you've got the 570, is that right? So just you've got the one, just the basic kind of general foot, yeah? Okay. Yeah, so, because obviously this one just has the opening here. You also have a small view, a little area for your thread to thread in your small view area as well. And that feeds it through. Screw in the back, which can be tightened as needed. And then obviously our connection at the top, that's the universal Bernina connection for all our feet. There is obviously a little bit of give on there, so you can rough and tumble over your projects that you need to. So it's a good universal foot for straight stitching, oh, getting my hair there, and all sorts of things like that. But obviously, as you get into more specialist applications, you may find that you may want something a little more specific. So, why don't I show you what we've got? So, our little, because does yours come with a little wardrobe like this? Okay. Well, I can definitely recommend this. It's great for holding all your different items. You can fit your bobbins here, and they just can roll straight out, and you can also just roll them back, and they can, you know, fit in there. Got a place to put your needles. You do need some needles. Okay, well, we'll put some in your order today then. So do you just want a set of 5 universals, or do you need a particular? I guess you want some heavy duties, and then a large set of you. So the 15, the universals. Okay, you can definitely do that. What I love in here as well, these come with this nice little drawers down at the bottom. Very cute. And this one, what have we got? A little, why can't I think of the name? Screwdriver. Yep, that's right. And maybe I'll set this down. But so you see how, yeah, I don't have 2 hands. But what I love over here is you can have all your feet hanging up. So really, really convenient. In this little drawer, we have that screwdriver, obviously really perfect screwdriver to fit in to any of the screws in our machines. So any little repairs or accessibility that you need, then this one's perfect for that. And we've also got our Bernina and picker, which is just a delight to use. Got a lovely strong blade here, which is protected by this little section as well, so you can get in there and it will cut your thread, but it also protects your fabric, so you're going to only really end up with your thread, and you'll protect it by keeping it in its protective covering. Yeah, I highly recommend getting one. So we'll add one of those. And then we just have some sewing machine oil. Obviously, keeping your machine oiled is super important. This is not for oiling. This is brushing for dusting. So there's certain parts towards the top here, and you can unpop that and back behind here, where you can get dust and lint that will build up. And so that's great for just dusting through there and getting that all cleaned out so that your machine can run really well. And then just go ahead and pop a little oil on the spots. Yeah, I can show you how to oil. Okay, yeah, no, we can do that another time then. If you're happy to do that today, that's fine. Okay, let me just pop these back in. And then I'll just show you just a limited range of our feet. We have quite an extensive range of feet, so I don't even remember what number we're up to, but you know, almost 100 or so. So this is by no means exhaustive, and if there's a particular function that you're looking for, then let me know. No? Okay. So the first one I'll show you is this rather dastardly looking foot. I know, look at it, very, very high tech. So this is actually a buttonhole foot. So problems with a lot of people if they are sewing buttonholes is getting them even so they look the same from one buttonhole to the next. And obviously we all really want that nice polished look on our handmade garments. You don't want it to look, you know, like somebody has to pitifully think that you made your own garment. They should be impressed and it should feel like a boutique, very nice item. And this buttonhole foot is so helpful. So you've got this slider, you can see here, and that actually helps to, on your machine, because you have the 570 and it is a computerized machine, it will actually pick up on the slider how long you want the buttonhole to be. And so it will sew through here and sew all the way down and then back, depending on how long you make the buttonhole. So it's quite a handy thing. And then you can also move on this side as well. So that's kind of, it sews within here. And that'll slide through as it's sewing, but will stop, you know, wherever it hits there. But that's done by the computer in the machine. That's not a mechanical thing, so you do have to have it hooked up to something like the 570 or one of our line of machines that has a computer. It won't work with kind of our more vintage machines. Because I think you had yeah, you have an 807 at home, is that right? Yeah, so this one wouldn't work. Obviously, a lot of our feet are universal and can be used across multiple machines. Your number one, obviously a universal foot, can be used on all your old vintage Bernina machines. This one can still be used on it, but won't have the same functionality as it will on the newer machine. You'll have to have a lot more input, and probably isn't the most practical. Yeah. So I don't know if you do a lot of buttonholes, but if you do, then this is a real lifesaver. Great for making your work just have that extra bit of professional oomph. Let's see, where should we go next? Let's go, because that was 3A. Did I show that to you? Because that's something that's really handy. With all of our feet, you have right on the front is the number. So obviously the number 1 is on the universal foot. On this buttonhole foot, we have the number 3A. And so with all of these, you can actually just go and pop onto our website, and there's videos about, what you can do, and really detailed instructions. So even though I can show you in store how they work and that sort of thing, you sometimes just need that help right when you're about to do it, and so these videos are invaluable. And they'll also give you a little brief description about them and that sort of thing. So, really handy to have that. And just look up, Bernina 3A foot. You'll find everything you want to know on that. So, let's pop you back in. So, let's just go in order. So, the next one I have to show you . Come out. I always forget how these actually come out on this. Don't know how we're gonna get it out. Just needed to be a little more forceful. I was going to save the 5 for next. Just kind of lift it right out. Kind of almost do a 90-degree angle. So next is our number 4. And this obviously has a nice little give on it, like the universal foot. So this is the number 4. Did I say that already? I might have already said that. And this is a zipper foot. Now this is a really nice narrow foot, and it's designed so that when you're sewing right up against a zipper, where you have the teeth right here, you can actually get this foot right up next to that. So you can have your fabric folded over. You can basically get this as close to the fabric as you want. So obviously this one you won't sew down the middle because you've got a cross edge in the middle, so you have to offset either to the left or to the right, depending on, which side you want to sew on. So, but this one's really, really handy. You can get super close, but still have that even, nice stitching. But yeah, pretty much used mainly for zippers. But anything where you have something where you need to get up just right close next to it, then the zipper foot is great for that. I'm trying to think what other applications there might be. Just, sometimes if you have a kind of an odd project, if you're, laying something in that has some sort of bulky object on it to begin with, that may be for that sort of thing, but mainly for zippers, which is why it is called a zipper foot. So this one has a little bit of give, but it's a little bit not quite as much give. And this is a really interesting foot. And this is really great if you do, particularly for clothing, in getting a blind stitch. So if you don't want a really long line of stitching to show up on the front of your garment, then you can fold it over. There's a particular way to fold your fabric to get that to work. And then basically this will go along and you turn the edge. And so it goes basically, you use the stitch that's like straight out. That one. So a stitch like that. So the straight goes on your piece of fabric that's going to be folded under and kind of is your edge of your fabric. And then your part that goes over goes into the fold. So it goes and then picks up the fold, picks up the fold. And then those little parts, when you turn it back over and press it, then you just have little dots of thread holding your hem, and so you can get really nice, neat hems that you can't really see. All you see is just the tiniest little dots of thread, rather than, a whole line of thread, which makes it really obvious. So if you choose a really nice complementary thread that matches and kind of melts in with the fabric, then you'll barely even notice it. So they're a really popular type of stitch for hems, but that's our blind stitch foot. And this can help you kind of roll the fabric through if you need to. Just depends on how you get it set up. Okay, now on to our more quilting oriented feet. This is a number 20, and you can see it has a really wide opening, and this is Applique Foot. So this is really good if you like to do any satin stitching or anything like that in your quilting. Then this is really great for that. Because basically you have this wide view, so you can see exactly what you're about to sew, everything like that. And then what I love is you have this wedge shape on the bottom, and with that wedge shape you're able to go over a satin stitch without kind of getting along a bumpy ride. So it's so smooth and lovely to sew with using this lovely Applique Foot. So this is a number 20. There are a few different kinds depending on what you like to do, but this is my favorite, is the number 20. Just that really nice wedge, and you have a really nice wide view here to see where you're going, and you can get a lovely big zigzag to make a really nice satin stitch. Now this isn't only used for satin stitching. You can use it anywhere where you really need that nice wide view, because it just gives you a really good perspective on where you're going and just where exactly you're up to. So very, very handy for that. So Applique Foot, very nice. And the final foot I have to show you is our little 37. And if you do any sort of regular block quilting, this is an invaluable piece. So whenever we're doing clothing and that sort of thing, obviously a lot of times you'll have a 1/4 inch or 3/8 or 5/8 inch seam. And you know, you might use the guide on the machine, or if you're using a 1/4 inch, you use the edge of the foot as a guide for a rough 1/4 inch. But the 1/4 inch on a number 1 universal foot is actually higher, so it's more like maybe 5/16, about that. Yeah. So a bit less than 3, maybe almost 3/8, but between 5/16, 3/8 generally. And so obviously when you're looking for really, really precise measurements like you are in quilting, this imprecision isn't quite going to cut it. And so that's the beauty of this 1/4 inch foot, which is our number 37. And that is, so from the middle line, which you can see in the foot itself, right down the middle, you can actually see the middle line. Also, if you just align your needle right to the middle of the foot, then that'll already be down the middle. So if you align your fabric exactly down the middle line, then to either side it's a precise 1/4 inch. So you'll be able to get that precise measurement that you so desire in quilting. Absolutely wonderful, this one. Other thing that I love is these little notches. So I don't know if you can quite see those, but they are a 1/4 inch as well. So from the end to here, it's 1/4 inch. Here to here is a 1/4 inch. And here to here is a 1/4 inch. And that's just really handy if you need to stop a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch before the end. You can use these little guides to help you to know where to stop and do a needle turn or something like that. And you get a slight little divot down the middle, just allowing a little bit of space for you to go over the the seam that you've just sewn. So this one's really handy, super precise. So if you need precision in your quilting, this is what that's for. This is also really good for things like paper piecing. If you, obviously you know where to sew because it's right on the line of the paper piece. But if you do a fold over method, then just that extra little bit of help to make sure that everything's exactly how you want it. The 1/4 inch, really good. So that's another foot that I highly recommend for that purpose. Obviously, if you don't do much block quilting, then that might not be for you. So, do you have anything? Okay, so we're going to get the needle. Obviously, I have the heavy duty and the universal needles. But I was wondering, it sounds like you're kind of sewing like jeans type. You don't do any applique, because a lot of times you might see little type of satin stitches, you know, those little fancy stitches. The applique foot's actually really good for those if you want to put any of those on your pockets. Okay, yep, so you'll take the applique foot for that. And then do you want a buttonhole? Okay, yep, so you take a buttonhole foot. And then did you need a seam ripper? Okay, get one of those as well. So we get those, And then your needles, you're all fine for bobbins, everything like that? Okay, wonderful. Well, then why don't we go up to the front and I'll grab the needles for you and then we can get you checked out. Okay. Thank you for joining me for this week's Sales Saturday. I hope you've enjoyed it. I do a new sales related video every Saturday. So that may be a shop assistant, being your personal shopper, perhaps a home shopping network, or anything else related to selling you things. I also do a daily ASMR video covering a wide variety of topics. So be sure to subscribe so that you can get access to all of these videos. I do a viewers appreciation video every month on the 25th of each month. All you have to do for your chance to be featured in that video is to comment on any of my videos throughout the month. So I look forward to hearing from you. And now I recommend just going and having a look at my channel page and seeing what else might strike your fancy so that your tingles can